Okay.
Relax. All right. Yeah, I'm not. All right, guys. So this week, we're very lucky. We have Aaron Chan from AHC Law, the law firm named after himself, which means this is the primary lawyer at that law firm. So today, we're going to scrutinize him. We're going to ask him a lot of questions. So if you're planning to be a lawyer in whatever industry, he focuses on wills and estates and real estate law. You might be able to find some insights whether you want to pursue this type of law or even a path within this realm at all, right? So just introduce yourself to the audience a bit, Aaron. A bit about you, what you do, a little about AHC Law.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Aaron Chan. I grew up in the Tri-Cities, and I actually started my own law practice back last year in August. I have various experience working in small firms as well as national size firms, and I decided to focus my practice on real estate law, wills and estates law, and some corporate law as well.
Is there a reason why you wanted to go into like estates or like wills and stuff instead of, when everybody thinks lawyer, they think of who's that famous one? The
The Harvey Specter suits,
yeah, the
kind of
one
stuff.
where people are like you can't handle the truth, like like litigation lawyers.
The
Is there a reason?
TV movie
For
lawyers.
sure. I mean, that's what people think. So, is there a
Yeah, that's
reason
true.
why?
I think that mostly is my personality. I think is more suited for what I call as a solicitor's work. I like to call it the paperwork lawyer, that kind of things. I had a few experiences in court already, and even through law school, I decided that like the litigation route wasn't really for me. And throughout my like articling experience and working as a early call lawyer, I really was drawn towards the more like transactional work. And I find that one a lot more fulfilling. And I find when working with the opposite side, like lawyers and notaries, it's a lot more cooperative. And I kind of like that working environment a lot
So,
better.
what was you did go to court for a few times then, eh? So,
A
what
couple
cases were those? What
times.
cases were those?
Yeah, I was
Can
an
you just share?
I was an expert at getting what we call substitute service. It is very simple. They send the law students to go do these ones, but that means when somebody is refusing to be served notice for any legal procedures, you just tell the judge exactly what kind of attempts you've tried to make and things like
Like you
that.
personally.
Well,
So you had to track people down. The
we
PI
hire
over here?
we hire some like PIs
Oh,
and
okay.
and servers that is their job to go find these people and serve them the legal documents. But if they're avoiding it, you have to get substitute service. Usually, you have to send it in person, but you can get a court order to either send it by mail or some alternative methods.
I could see that. I could see like, not to put you on the spot, but if there's a bunch of litigation going back and forth and you're like, ah,
Yeah,
put me back in the office.
I don't enjoy that one too much.
Put me back in the office. But you went to UBC for sciences, right?
Yeah, so I did my undergrad at UBC. I did biochemistry.
See,
Uh,
I think that's really interesting because a lot of people who go into sciences, especially out of high school, like even myself, I wanted to go into sciences to do something, health focused. I ended up with kinesiology, but I was really looking towards the health sciences. People around that age and who choose their major, they might even think like, oh, it's too late for me to transition into something so different like law. So what made you transition from like whatever you went into sciences for to ending up going to law school?
so even in my law class, I think about 30% of us were science majors. I mean, back when I was in
Really?
yeah, 30%. I think 50 to
Maybe I'm just
60
out of the
was like
loop. I didn't know that.
poli sci. But a good chunk of us were science kids, and then we had like for law school, it doesn't matter what you do your major in, as long as you have a undergrad degree, you can apply to law school. So we had a large variety. I think we had one guy from aviation,
Wow.
one person from music. A few of the science people had their PhDs already, and they come do law. I guess I ran into the same wall as they did.
Man,
It's hard to get a job after
those
with a
guys
science
are
degree.
like Asian child final boss. It's like
Yeah,
my kid's a PhD, my kid's a
the
lawyer, my kid.
doctor, lawyer, all
What's that
combined
guy's
into
name?
one.
Johnny Kim?
Oh, the astronaut.
That he
Um,
astronaut, military, like high-ranking military guy,
Yeah.
PhD,
Yeah,
surgeon.
sucks to be that guy's cousin. Imagine every Christmas.
Yeah, like he's got a lot of notoriety now, and actually he had a podcast on, I can't remember who the host was, and that was one of the best ones I've
Mm.
seen just in terms of mindset. And you see all the accolades. I think a lot of the times people see whether they're entrepreneurs or just standout individuals. A lot of people see the end product, but to see what fueled the fire and like what kind of things he had to go through in order to become that, you know, person that he became, that was a crazy one. So tap into that. I think his name is Johnny Kim.
I
Tap
think
into
so
that
too.
podcast. But anyway, so after you graduated sciences, did you directly go right into law school, or was there a gap in time? Or
Well, there was a few years. To be honest, I was trying for med like all science kids were,
okay.
but that didn't work out. So I tried out for law as well. And then yeah, like the other science students, I think it was a little hard for me to find a job. Just with the undergrad in science, I think the most I went to job fair. The most noticeable one was like a toothpaste company. You could be like a researcher for a toothpaste company. I was taking biochem.
How do I make teeth
Uh,
whiter?
exactly. So I think that was like a common challenge, and I just found like an alternate like schooling path to take, and I'm happy where I ended up.
Yeah. So while you were going through law school, and it is really strenuous, right? What is the rate you would say of people who either don't make it all the way in law school or actually go through it and then don't become like lawyers? Is that the case?
Yeah, well, there's an attrition rate. I think even just in my class, so that's a rough estimate, maybe like 10% didn't actually finish their degree. I guess it
Uh,
varies between law school to law school. And then, like personally, a few of my friends also, after they finished their articling as well, they also dropped being a lawyer. So there's a little bit, but most of my classmates are still working.
oh. But then versus being in the industry compared to what you thought it was going to be like, maybe as an articling student or even first year law school, did it stack up to what you thought it would be? Is it way better, way worse?
I mean,
Like
I
now that
didn't
you're a few
have,
years in the field,
yeah,
right?
I didn't have too many expectations going into law school. Like, I was the first in my family in the legal field. Um,
Cheers to that.
so I didn't have too many expectations, but I knew like law school would be a grind. Like you hear stories when you're in law school, like working for the big law companies. You see it on TV. You're
Mm.
just grinding away. I think I was really fortunate in my career path so far. I had nothing that crazy for myself, but now that I'm working for my own firm, that has ramped up a lot, I must say.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. I think a lot of the times with so many of the whatever industry, right? For real estate, for me, for example, the things that you learn in the book versus the things you'll actually end up dealing with, starkly different. If you expect in any industry that you're going to learn all you need in the book, or not even all you need, because that's kind of unrealistic, but majority of the stuff is going to be from a textbook, and you're like, cool, I just need to apply it and put my head down and work. Like, honestly, all industries to excel, it's going to be everything that's not in the book that
Mhm.
you're going to have to become good at or hone in yourself and everything like that. Obviously, it's fantastic to be studious, but, and not to talk down anyone else, but I met so many agents who either just got licensed or got licensed around the same time as me. Not to say like I'm doing great or anything, but it's like those people were so much more knowledgeable than me when it came to memorizing the terms or other like regulatory things. But then when it came to, you know, people to people conversations or marketing themselves or being out there, being more, introverts can really make it as well. But I'd say extroverts obviously stand out more for obvious reasons. It's hard for them to apply that outside of that education realm, right? The put the rubber to the road type of thing, right? So when you just got out of law school and then you started that, you went to a big firm, right?
Not right off the bat. Later on in my career, I went
Oh,
to a
okay.
bigger
And
one, but Yeah, like a small to medium size law
Yeah.
firm.
Do you feel like that helped you catapult your career or at least give you the base to be where you're at now? Or would you have done it differently, like now that a few years have gone by?
I think personally for me, it was really good that I worked at some smaller size firms. Like um, even like two firms previous, it was just a principal lawyer and myself
Mm.
as the lawyers at that firm, and I got a lot of hands-on experience doing um, the nitty-gritty work as well as not even the legal work, the like the business aspects, like like how to take payments, how to manage the accounting, um, like how to manage your office, things like that. And I think that was uh, like very very important to give me the confidence to branch out on my own
Yeah.
and things like that. Like when I worked at a big firm, you're just it was a well-oiled machine already, so you
Yeah.
just need to put in the work and get things going that way. But
And as long as you're in an environment like that and you're a sponge, that's so important, right? It's not just like clock in, do your job and clock out. If you want anything more in any industry, right? You need to be a sponge in your environment. And when, most likely you're like the youngest guy in that setting or one of the, more junior people.
yeah,
So it's really daunting a lot of times. Even for me, when I joined the real estate industry, I was definitely on the younger side, if not usually the youngest one in the room, even to today. And it's sometimes a different hurdle to be able to absorb the most and participate the most, right? And get the most out of every opportunity or room you're in, right? But obviously you were able to do that and grow from that. But being in those smaller firms, is there any like stories that stand out or struggles you had,
let me think
that
about
you can
that
share?
one. Yeah,
That's still a
confidentiality
lawyer.
aside.
By the
Let's
way, this is
see.
off the record. Signs a drafts of paperwork real quick.
I don't know about any like trials and tribulations, but I really enjoyed like working in the small firm. Like I got really close to my boss at that time, and then I still reach out to him and for advice, and we still meet up. And he always says like, "Oh, it's you call me anytime you have any questions." It's always good to have a mentor like that. So I think that was probably the biggest takeaway like so far in my career. Um,
Yeah. So I think that touches on a really big point for people who decide to embark on a more entrepreneurial career, right? And that's really the point of this podcast is to have guests on, number one, who's a bit in the realm like real estate related, which you definitely are, but also people who decide to take the leap and at whatever stage they're at in something that requires more of an entrepreneurial mindset, right? That's
yeah.
something we want to really dive into and pick the brains of people who have done it,
Mhm.
right? So now that you've been medium firm, larger firm, and now your own firm,
That was the one man show.
how do you feel the jump's been from being in all those different, more structured places to now basically structuring it yourself? How do you feel like that jump has been in the transition?
Well, so far it's been really good. I think the main thing is the newfound freedom and the realization that like the buck stops with me. Like I'm at the end of the day, I'm responsible for it
And the
all.
newfound freedom means he's going to pitch and putt at 12 noon on a Tuesday.
With
No,
this guy.
but but yeah, I mean that's the double-edged sword with branching out and doing it on your own because you can work as much as you want or as little as you want, but guess what? The results are going to be a direct mirror
Yeah,
of your
exactly.
right.
Yeah, one of the biggest revelations was the feeling of whatever you put in is what you get out, and every little bit of effort that you put in that you maybe before when you work with somebody else that no one else sees.
You never even
But
think about
like
that
yeah,
after.
exactly. It's all like you're doing it for yourself, and
Yeah.
definitely feels very rewarding in that aspect.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you kind of branch out and, even prior to real estate, I was more so selling cars, right? So it's on my own free time. Like I can work on as many cars as I want. I can go buy out as many cars or buy none or spend a week doing nothing, right? But it's kind of like you look at it and you're like, wow, I got so much time. But also like, wow, I got so much time. Like, what do I do, right? It's almost like the the
I feel
challenge
guilty
of
sometimes, like,
choice.
oh, sometimes, like,
Yeah.
oh, shoot, like, should I
Yeah.
really be relaxing right now? Or,
Yeah, should I? It's hard to flick that switch and turn it off. Like I just came back from, wonderful time in China, but even to transition, and you just came back as well,
yeah, a little
right? You're in
trip
Hong
to
Kong and
Japan and Hong Kong, which
yeah,
was fun.
and it's hard to flick that switch to kind of turn it off and go into relaxation mode,
And I
right?
was working over there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both were, and
Yeah.
the best thing you can do, in my opinion, my kind of what's recommendation is finding balance, right? But finding that balance and what works for each different person and yourself is going to take some time, some trials, right? Trial and error. But to speak on that time that we have, how many things did you feel like you had to start learning now that you didn't think you'd have to learn? Like, for example, your online marketing, website building, or website management, right? Growing your SEO, managing your CRM, right? These are things that you wouldn't imagine to be like,
Like a lawyer's
a good lawyer.
responsibility
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
Right?
yeah, I mean, those were like the things I touched on, like working for a small firm. Like at least I got a little bit of exposure to that, especially like legal industry specific. There's like the client management programs, things like that. So I knew the ins and outs and how to use that. But yeah, of course, like the website was for sure
Yeah.
challenging. Setting up all the servers, like all the technology side of it as well.
Yeah.
Definitely is a challenge, and yeah, I had to spend a lot of hours like learning it and teaching myself. And accounting is a big one too.
Hey, accounting,
Accounting's important.
the big man upstairs is in the CRA.
Yeah,
It's always watching.
exactly.
Right? So, but that's the thing, whether you're a landscaper, car detailer, in real estate, this is the time, 2026, you're gonna have to get online and you're gonna have to get those Google reviews, the Google business profile, your digital storefront, no matter what, career set or background you wanna dive into. If you're gonna wanna see more results or more success, and if you're already doing so much work and effort to be the best in your industry, you gotta have that digital storefront these days, right? You're kind of leaving food on the table or potentially losing out on previously strong leads by not having an online profile, right? Like maybe they meet you, you and I do events,
Yeah, that's
particularly the Port Coquitlam elderly, is there a name for
right. Yeah,
that?
the Wilson Seniors.
Wilson Seniors
We did
Center.
a presentation
And
there. That was good.
We had so many great conversations, met a lot of great people, but imagine if, I always say whether they're 15 years old or 95 years old, the first thing they're gonna do is Google your name, right? People want credibility to clear doubt. And if they search you up, nothing comes up, or your Google business profile is empty, right? No matter, like I said, 15 to 95, they're gonna be like, well, this guy's, I had a great connection with him, talking with him, but he's like all talk. Right? Unfortunately, like that's the perception that you get, and perception ends up being reality for a lot of these early cases where you are building a relationship with the public, general public, or potential clients. And by not having your digital storefront set up, like I said, you might be losing out on some potentials, right? But now that you've had a few, quite a bit of time has passed by, do you feel like most of your clientele is farmed by you networking and going to events and stuff like that, or is it mostly referral?
I would say the majority of it is referral and word of mouth. Like, I mean, one of my main marketing strategies is just focus on doing good work. Good work leads to recommendations from your clients, and you can spread out that way. I also have a lot from from events as well, like Google, especially Google Maps. I think directs a lot of business in.
Yeah, you were telling me people
Yeah.
see like, and your SEO is good, but it's not that
Yeah, it's
optimized,
definitely not optimized.
right? So we're gonna work on that
Yeah,
because
so, I mean, even if you're just starting a business, just get the page out, and then, I mean, even if just a few come in, it's already worth it.
and man, I get so much pushback from other agents or even people in other industries because I mentioned to them, hey, like I do a training course at the brokerage here, right? A lot of it is talking about digital marketing, how to optimize your SEO and building that digital storefront as well as social media. But people are always like, oh, is it worth it though? Oh, is it like, should I really do? Oh, how many leads did you get? How many deals did you close from that though? But I'm like, that's the concept that goes over people's head. I'm like, if you're doing it directly to be like, how many deals am I going to get by making a Google business profile? You've already lost the plot. Genuinely, right? Because it's about creating a strong landing for people to find you on the public sector, right? If they can't, imagine you got the best product ever, regardless of what it is, service or product or whatever the case may be, or experience, and it may be the best one. But if nobody knows about it, it doesn't matter, right? So more people got to know. If you're doing an amazing job, you got to let people know. And kind of to touch back, you mentioned before that I just got reminded of this. When you're in your other law firm, you said you had that main lawyer was a mentor for you. Mm-hmm. How important do you think it was in your case and in general people's case to find a mentor that really suits, you know, where they're pointing to be, where they're eyeing to be?
Oh, I think it's absolutely critical to have a good mentor that is not only knowledgeable but also like understands like how to grow your skills and things like that and look out for you. It's been a real big help to my career, especially for any young professionals, whatever field it is. Like you'll find that a lot of your skills and knowledge, like the textbook stuff is great, but a lot of it comes from like while you're working, experience, learning on the job. And like even in law, or I'm sure other industries as well, like it's so vast, the knowledge, like you can't just rely on yourself to learn and be an expert on everything.
Yeah, and you really have to surround yourself with people who you want to be like, right? I always try to say it, I really want to be the smallest guy in the room every time I go somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. The networking events and everything like that. By being the smallest guy in the room, I have so many ladders I can climb, right? I have so much I can absorb, I can be that sponge. But if you're in a room that kind of doesn't really give you much value, or you're not having that opportunity to get a mentor, you're potentially, regardless of what level you are, it's not even just for beginners, right? If you want to get to that next level, there's going to be a mentor who can take you there, right? And if you're not going to take that trampoline, that catapult, again, you're missing a lot of opportunities. And I was really lucky. The first brokerage that I had joined, we had a training program there as well. And shout out Paul. Paul was basically the first mentor. Paul Kernyawan had a training course and everything like that. And it really set the right tone and the right mindset of what needs to be done in the real estate industry in order to kind of make it, right? And give you the real deal about what it's like in the industry instead of like some fluff and some, you know, the big thing about the training is that I sat in at so many brokerages. You know, every brokerage name you can imagine, I sat in at the training, talked to the managing broker like before I signed on with a realty company, and almost all of the trainings were contract writing, regulatory like items, right? Which is, you need to know these things. Yeah. But none of them are teaching like how to talk to clients, how to attain clients, how to market yourself. So I'm like, why do I need to learn how to write a contract if I can't even get a client? Right? And I thought maybe, okay, this is because I'm sitting in this session, maybe it was another session. I asked them, what were the previous week sessions? They're all like surrounded about those regulatory things, which are necessary. I totally understand. But if you want like, you know, to really take hold of any industry, you gotta get mentorship from somebody who's also out there and grabbing it, right? Not just the regulatory things or the, you know, back end paperwork, as important as those are, right? There's got to be more. There's got to be real world situations, and I think those really come from like mentors, right? So do you feel like you utilize a lot of the lessons that you've learned from that mentor still to today?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I took a lot of good practices from my mentor, I think, that I didn't see in other law firms, like how to treat your clients, different things. Like a big one, I think, especially I got from him is like, not everything's about money. Like at the end of the day,
yeah.
like you want to give good work and take care of your clients first and foremost. And some people just need help sometimes. And I think I try to bring that to my firm as well. And then, yeah, just different like good practices that I continue that I've watched and learned and continued in my own practice.
And that's huge,
Yeah.
not only in law itself, but because you're dealing with wills and estates,
Yes.
right? And for me, a lot of the realm that I deal with in real estate are wills and estates as well, right? Or not so much wills, just the estates. And it's such a sensitive topic and such a soft point for a lot of people. And the reason what I've found is that many, many times it brings together siblings who haven't talked in 20 plus years and they don't want to talk, right? Or siblings that have ongoing rivalries and you're dealing with all these different opinions, different end goals, different backstories that they're never going to share with you, right? And you still have to get them together to attain that final goal in my aspect, which would be to sell the property at the highest, most value within a reasonable timeline. A lot of times with estate sales, they're timeline sensitive, right? So, you know, a lot of interesting things. And like you said, it can't just be about the money. The money will come if you do the right job, you know, or do the right amount of level of care and everything like that. The money will come, but the main thing first is do the job, do it well, and you know remain the human side of it.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people just do business and they're like, well, business, but you know there's always that human side of it that you have to implement within the structure of your business to be able to relate with people and scale and everything like that, right? But we'll finish it off with two topics. All right. In your free time, Aaron, forget about the work stuff. What do you like doing, man?
Well, Dean and I like to go hit the range sometimes, go golfing.
Aaron's crazy on the sim golf. For some reason, the sim golf loves this guy.
The sim golf is very forgiving.
You're really good, obviously in real golf too, but the sim golf, every time you go there, man, it's like you put an arrow on the end of the ball. Like, and just right down the line.
Yeah.
Then what happens? We go to the range and it's like,
And then everything
curves to the right.
everything shanks.
But you're really big into hockey. Like even to today, you still play like adult league and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, my main sport right now is ice hockey. Our team's in the finals next Tuesday.
This Tri-Cities guy. Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Oh, I gotta be there. Right, I guess I'll be there.
Film some content.
Yeah.
Give some hockey cliche answers to this guy.
Yeah, and it's really good. And something that Aaron and I also relate with, and kind of why, I guess initially we became closer and became friends, was cars.
Yeah.
Right. You got a beautiful Subaru.
My 2003 WRX.
Sedona red.
In Sedona red.
With the gold wheels, that's a classic one. I'll pop
wheels,
up a photo on screen, basically. 5-speed, some aftermarket parts, right? Make some nice turbo noises.
Yeah, all the work done myself and Ryan, or Dean, sorry. Dean
And
first.
the funny thing is that in classic Subaru fashion, it's blown a head gasket.
Oh yeah, it's very sad sitting in the garage right now.
Yeah, so
yeah, I have to get a couple of other cars for work and stuff now, but
that's
the
true.
Subaru's my favorite.
We did go and get you that.
Yeah, we got a Mitsubishi
The
for the
Fiat, the
family
plug-in
car.
hybrid?
Yeah, the plug-in hybrid. That's been amazing. And then for the business, now we got a 2017 Lexus
ES hybrid.
ES 300 hybrid.
Yeah.
That thing's been logging a lot of kilometers, but it's it's very good.
Yeah, I've been happy to see you get that. That's why sometimes when I refer you and they say like, "Oh, does he do mobile work?" I'm like, "Don't even ask me where." Yes, he does. Send him to Whistler. Send him to Abbotsford. Send him to
Yeah, right. I did a little
Kelowna.
circuit the other day, like UBC, North Vancouver, back to Coquitlam. So.
Hey, you're doing all that in hybrid. So we'll finish off with the work stuff. What's a story that stands out to you that's kind of that you can share? That was like a crazy situation or something you learned a lot from.
Shoot. I don't think I have a specific story.
Really,
but
nothing
then-
crazy has happened for you?
I told you, I do the solicitor paperwork stuff. Nothing too crazy.
Like no deals that could have fallen apart or something that gets thrown in the mix at the end, like.
Oh. I have a more particular one, but I don't think I can share the details of that
Oh
one.
man, see, this is what happens when you. The good lawyer,
Yeah,
though.
bring the boring lawyers on to
That's okay. Good
the
lawyer.
podcast.
I mean, I think I have one that stands out, which is. I may have quite a few, but if I were to choose one, there was I guess on the this is not like a good story though, but kind of the adversities of the industry. I had a property listed, and then really unfortunately the seller had passed away during the listing, and they had another will with like a different lawyer, and just the timeline of the probate and everything like that was quite long. But luckily, the firm that they were dealing with, it is a straightforward process, but it was very, very streamlined. And I think the way that they handled the next of kin and everything like that was like really fantastic. So that puts you in that position quite often, right? To deal with the next of kin and everything like that in really difficult situations. But that was an adverse situation that I didn't expect, and it was really, really so unfortunate. So, in our industry, we never know what to expect. And I think another one that stands out to me was, oh man, this one's borderline too, but I'm gonna share it anyway. I had a listing. I'm not gonna say like what city or what location, because it's like kind of easily like discernible which one it was. And again, not to like bash on the other people in my industry, but it's like I had a scenario where after the deal closed, the buyer's agent called me, and then he was like, hey, the property's not clean to the level that my clients are happy with. So we're gonna call in some cleaners. It's gonna cost roughly like X dollar amount, which it's over $1,000 that they had told me. And then we're gonna like get the receipt, blah, 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 and like I'm gonna like send you an invoice. And I was like, really? Like, can you send me a photo of like what isn't cleaned and what's like what you're not happy with? And he didn't, and then he was like, oh no, I gotta like book them in, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find out for myself. So I drove to the property, and when I got there, they were contractors and they're like ready to knock down a wall. Like already like knocking, so I'm like, they didn't even need it to be cleaned. Yeah. So people in our own industry, like, gunning for these extra dollars, and I'm like, don't you think that I would have like checked it out if you're asking me for this much money? And I did. And then when I saw that, I basically called him out, and then he let it go. But I was like, wow, like that's one of the things that situations that happen within the industry that you can't really prepare for or know what to do with until it comes in and sees you, right? But yeah, that's the fun of being in a place where anything can happen, really. And I guess hopefully, we'll have you back on and you'll have more stories by then that you can legally disclose. Yes. But yeah, any tips for people who either are thinking about going into law school or are finishing up law school, and whether they're going to go into a big firm or open their own? Like, what other tips do you have for people, like specifically in law?
Specifically in law, I guess if you're just finishing up law school, I know it's a very stressful time looking for articling.
Don't plug your own. You're going to plug your own? Join AHC Law today.
No, I'm not going to do that, but I know there's like so much pressure in school to be like big firm, big firm, big firm. But I would say like give like the small and medium firms a chance. Like I think you learn a lot more. Like your skills are gonna be developed more holistically. Like I said, you learn more of like the business side of law and things like that, and you can equip yourself to perhaps like branch out on your own. Because I think for a lot of lawyers, it gives a lot more control over your life versus always having to answer to your firm like day or night. I know some of my friends are pretty
24/7. 24/7.
chained to their desk, to put it mildly. But
the clock doesn't stop.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is. Like it's good. You get good pay for it, but
it's like what we talked about before. It's all about balance.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, finding that balance is the challenge. But when you do, it's really so rewarding. But anyway, thanks for coming on, Aaron.
Okay, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and hopefully next week we'll have some other guests. We're gonna have Nick from CIBC on here. He's a mortgage professional, mortgage specialist with CIBC, as I mentioned. And again, something real estate related, but also as a mortgage broker, you have to go out and find your own clients and manage their expectations and also understand the numbers more than anyone. So looking forward to have Nick on and some other guests. But thank you to Aaron Chan from AHC Law. Shake your hand, double.